in the last class. The only change between the working of JK flip-flop with respect to SR flip-flop is here, instead of going to indeterminate state, it will start toggling when both the inputs are high. That is the difference which we are having. So basically this JK flip-flop is an modified version of SR flip-flop. You can see here. So similar to SR flip-flop, JK flip-flop is also having two inputs and one clock, and Q and Q bar we are having. So this is the basic block diagram of JK flip-flop. Coming to the internal structure of JK flip-flop, this portion is same circuit of the digital circuit of SR flip-flop. To this SR flip-flop, see here, to this SR flip-flop, as usual, we have given posterior detector circuit. So this entire portion is same as SR flip-flop. Now this S of the SR flip-flop and R of SR flip-flop is being connected to AND gate, not the NAND gate, it is AND gate. It is connected to the output of the AND gate, and one input is given to the manual input is given to the AND gate, which is termed as KJ, and other input is given as K, which is the one of the input for the AND gate 2. Then you can observe here the AND gates are cross connected with the outputs. If I take this as Q bar is connected to K, and this is Q, and this is connected to J. So there is a cross connection. Here also we have cross connection in SR flip-flop. When we look into this, here also the output part had the cross connection, where one of the output behave as one of the input, and output of the other NAND gate behaves as one of the input for the AND gate. In the same way here, output of the entire circuit will be fed as one of the input for the AND gates. Instead of connecting at the output side, the cross connection at the output side, we are doing it at the input side only. So this is the connection which we are having. Basically, this SR flip-flop is having its change with respect to 1 1. So you can see so JK and Qn plus 1 and Qn bar we are having. So here Qn plus 1 is nothing but the Q which we are talking about. When both the inputs are 0 0, it will also be 0, and based upon the Qn bar of the last output, because it is just Qn and this is Qn plus 1. In the same way, when J and K are 0 0, Qn plus 1 is 1 based upon the last value of Qn bar. So it will retain the same values without changing it when both J and K are made to be 0. Because when both J and K are made to be 0, during that time, it is a state where you are not pressing the set button or reset button. So when you are not pressing set button or reset button, during that time, obviously it will not change the output. It will retain with the same output what it was displaying in the previous case. When it comes to, see, J and K, J is nothing but S, K is nothing but R, just for our understanding. J leads to the set button, K leads to the reset button. When R is, or the J J is 0 and K is equal to 1, irrespective of the previous value, the present state will be equal to 0, 0. So this Q will be equal to 0, 0. So this will be termed as reset state. When J is made as 1 and R is made as 0, so during that time, irrespective of whatever we are having in the previous state, the present states will be 1, 1. It will be at high. The output will be at high state. Next, when both the inputs J and K are made as 1, 1, during that time, it is going to check the previous value. If the previous value is 1, then the present value will become 0. And if the previous value was 0, then present value will become 1. This is known as toggle state. So this will be keep on continuing, and once it becomes 0, if you suppose assume that we are giving J and K is equal to 1, 1 continuously. We are not changing it at all. During that time, it will keep on changing 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. It will be alternating. 0 and 1s will be alternating. So that such kind of state is known as toggle state. Then coming to the diagram, the waveform. Waveform plotting, you can see that as we are using a positive edge detector circuit, only when the clock pulse go to positive raising edge. So these are raising edge and this is the falling edge, as we have discussed yesterday. Put a random waveform for J and also for K with the random pulses you just give, and the JK flip-flop is going to just check at this point when the raising pulse is going high. Only during that time interval it is going to check. So when it checks, it comes to know that J is equal to 0 and K is equal to 1. Let us assume that initially it was 0. You can assume it was 0 or 1. It is left to you. But the action starts when the raising pulse is detected. So when 0 and 1 is there, during that time, the output goes to 0 because the JK flip-flop is going to reset. When reset happens, it will be output will be 0. That's why. And it will continue until the next state occurs. Next raising edge occurs. In the next raising edge, again it is going to check what is the values of J and K. You can observe here J is equal to 1, K is equal to 1. So as according to a truth table, as we know that when both J and K are equal to 1, it enters to the toggle state. So it is going to just look into the previous state. Previous state is 0. So now it goes to 1 automatically. Next, again, it is going to check at the raising edge. In the raising edge, we can observe that J and K is equal to 0, 0. As we know, when J and K both are equal to 0, 0, it enters, it is going to be termed as no change state. So when it is no change state, it is going to retain the same high level pulse continuously. And again, next, when the next raising pulse of the clock comes, again it is going to check the values for J and K. So here it was observed J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 0. When J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 0, automatically the output goes to high. So we tell the flip-flop is set. So it will be at high. So it is going to continue the same. Next, again, when the next raising pulse comes, clock pulse comes, again it is going to check. So again, we got both J and K as 1, 1. So again, it enters to the toggle state. As we know, toggling means it is going to check the previous value. So previous value is high. So now the present value will become 0. So this is how the JK flip-flop is going to work. After this JK flip-flop, the improved version of this JK flip-flop is coined as master-slave flip-flop. So this is known as master-slave JK flip-flop. So it is known as master-slave JK flip-flop because to design this, we are going to use two JK flip-flops. You can observe here, we are going to use two JK flip-flops which are connected like this, cascaded. So the output of this fed as input to this, output of this is fed as input to this. And the clock pulse, you can observe, the clock pulse is given to this, and this clock, the same clock pulse is taken out and it is passed through the NOT gate and it is given as input to the second JK flip-flop, which is slave. We call this JK flip-flop as slave and this JK flip-flop as master. So here, the whatever the clock we give here, the same clock is been given, but it will be the inverted version of this clock we'll give here. So inverted version in the sense, if it goes to the raising edge here, it goes to falling edge here. That is how it is going to work. And whatever the output and whatever the output we are having from the first JK flip-flop, which is master, that is driven to the slave. So slave is going to follow what the master is giving out. That's why it is called a slave and this is known as master. The master's output is given to the slave input. And again, you can observe here, here we take J bar, sorry, Q bar, and that Q bar is given to J and Q that is given to K. This one you should remember, cross connection again. Or if you get confusion, you can make Q bar and do the cross connection. That's it. After that, Q and Q bar is obtained, and one of the input to the JK flip-flop is again the cross connection of the output. So Q bar is connected to this J and Q is connected to this K. So cross connection, we are doing it. So Q is connected to K and Q bar is connected to J, and we are having one more input, set and reset as usual. Using these two inputs, this JK flip-flop is going to work. So when we are going to analyze this with respect to the truth table, or we can see the internal diagram. This is the internal diagram. So you can observe this. This is one SR flip-flop and this is one SR flip-flop. To this, we are giving the cross connection from the output. Q is connected here and Q bar is connected here. By doing this cross connection, we are going to convert this SR flip-flop to JK flip-flop. When output is connected to the input, during that time, the same SR flip-flop gets converted to JK flip-flop. Remember this, when you are going to connect, this cross connection is as usual. If you take this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 and 4's cross connection is as usual. But if you are going to connect the output, final output to the input, then it becomes JK flip-flop. Okay. Now, you can observe here, JK is 0, 0, everything is as usual, and even the toggle state is also as usual. But the main reason in going for master slave flip-flop is to overcome the race around condition. So this was the main drawback with respect to the JK flip-flop. So what is this race around condition? So this actually in JK flip-flop, without giving any input signals also, the suppose you are just making it as J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 1, the JK flip-flop was changing continuously such that the output is uncertain. Say suppose at one instant of time you take Q is equal to 0, in the next time again it will becomes equal to 1. It was continuously toggling. It is just like a flickering light. So it was keep on continuously changing. So this type of condition is known as race around condition. To control this race around condition, continuous flickering of this uh, JK flip flop was controlled by master slave JK flip flop combination. So when you are going to connect in this combination, during that time, it is going to toggle only when input is given. Suppose one time I am giving 1 1, it changes to, suppose assume 1 1 is given and previous value was 0. Now the present value becomes 1. Until you give again 1 1, or again if you give clock pulse, until that this value is not going to change. Until you give again 1 1, this value is not going to change. But what was happening in JK flip flop was, whether you give it or not, if you just give 1 1 and leave as it is, it was continuously flickering. It was keep on changing with respect to the clock. But here, when you again give 1 to 1, then only it is going to change from 1 to 0 and 0 to 1. So this race around condition was avoided in master slave JK flip flop. By using this, we were able to control the flickering levels. So this is uh, about the master slave JK flip flop. So after this, there are two more applications which are left out. One is the shift register, and the last one will be the counter. So the shift register is an application just for the purpose of giving some delay. This is uh, constructed by using D flip flop. So D flip flop is delay flip flop. It is just going to give some delay. See, when you are going to shift the number one by one, you have already studied in CPS, rotating the sequence clockwise, anti-clockwise, all those things. So the same way here, when you are going to shift the sequence one by one, or when you are going to pass the sequence one by one, it is just like we are passing one box, other box, like this we are passing. So the first in will be the first out, second in will be second out, third in will be third out, fourth in will be fourth out. So it is just like let us assume this is a moving trolley. So where one by one is shifting. So instead of doing like this, if you are going to keep if you are going to dump all the boxes like this, one above the other, what happens? They may uh, just I'm telling the analogous meaning. See, if you are going to keep all the boxes together and if you try to pass this over a trolley, what happens? They may fall down. So some damage might happen, right? So what they'll do, they'll send one by one, they're going to send with a delay. In the same way, in our computer system, we need to transmit the data either serially or parallelly. So there are two ways of transmitting the data. It might be with respect to the memory system, or it might be with respect to the transmitter system. Memory system is if you want to store bits one by one, then you can store the bits serially. Serially means back to back, 1 0 1 0. If you are having first 0 goes and it gets saved, then next one goes, and then the next one goes, and then the next one goes. If you are going for a parallel, so during that time, we need to use this flip flops, multiple flip flop in parallel combination, multiple things like this, and 1 0 1 0. we'll be having like this. So now at a time, all of them are going to get stored. Parallel means that many number of output lines you need. But when you go for serial connection, you'll be having, you need to store one by one. You need to store it one by one. Parallelly, we are going to store at a time, but serially we are sufficient to have only one output line. But parallelly means how many number of bits you are having, that many number of output lines you need. If you are then number of flip flop used might increase, because you know that flip flop is having only one output, that is q, and q bar is that the complementary of q. So in series combination, one output is sufficient, but in parallel combination, you need to add some more flip-flop. Then each one is going to give one bit. So this is parallel and this is series uh, shift register. So in this, there are four types of the shift registers. One is series in, series out, series in, series out, shift register, other one is, sorry, this we'll take it as serial in, parallel out, shift registers, parallel in, serial out, shift register, parallel in, parallel out, shift register. So these are the four types of shift register we are having. So whatever we are studying here, and whatever there is in your syllabus is serial in, serial out. We call it as CISO. So for your syllabus, we are having only this one, serial in, serial out. So the diagram, whatever we have written here, it is serial in, serial out only. So here you can observe that one by one the bit is entering. So first bit enters and it leaves through Q and it goes as input to the D2. Then only the next sequence, the next bit is entering. That's why it is known as serial in, serial out. So like that, when each clock pulse is applied, and you can see that for all this flip-flop, we are having a common clock. So when we are having a common clock, during that time, serial in, serial out. When the first clock is pressed, during that time, the first bit is going outside, and that will be fed as input to D2. Hello. ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್? ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೆ ಈಗ. ಹೌದಾ? ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಸೆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್, IoT ಹಾಕಿ. So when the first clock is pressed, then it takes the first bit in and it gives out. So again, when they at the same time, when the clock is when the raising edge clock comes here also, because we are having a common clock for all, one bit is entering, that bit will be going. When the next clock pulse comes, this bit comes here, this bit goes here, this bit comes here, and when the fourth clock pulse is given, then it is going to come out. You can see this in the table. Initially, the first bit is taken. Here we have taken an example of 1011. 1011 is the sequence we have assumed. This is the what you can see that this is the sequence which we have taken, 1011. So when initially when clock pulse is given, in the first clock pulse is given, say all of them will be having the clock pulse, but the data will first will be pushed to D3. D means D flip flop. D3 indicates D flip flop. To the D3 flip flop. This is one. Okay, D3 flip flop. So it when the first clock pulse is given, the one will be entering here. The data one will be entering here. You can see that the rest of the output will be as usually 0, 0, 0, and only this will be 1. When the next clock pulse is given, this one is get shifted to this. You can see that this gets shifted here, and the next bit is entering. So the next bit is also 1, so it comes here, and the rest of the 2 flip-flop will be 0, 0 only. When the third clock pulse is being given, during that time, the third bit 0 will enter. So 0 will come here, and this one goes here, and this will be as usual. When the fourth clock pulse is being given, during that time, you can see that the next new bit is going to finally enter. Then when this is entering, this becomes 1, and this 0 gets shifted here, and the one which was present here comes here, and the one which was present here comes here, and finally we can see that 1011 is given out. Okay, this is how shift register is going to work. We have taken only 4 clock pulses, and we have tried to explain. So when you keep on giving the clock pulses, one by one the bit is going to finally come out. So first 1 is going to come out, then 0 is going to come out, then 1 is going to come out, then 1 is going to come out. So you can observe that whatever the clock pulse, whatever the data which we wanted to pass, they are getting passed through this. See here, not only the collision is avoided, but also some amount of delay is being given such that the data or the data bits will not collide each other, and that will not get lost. So that's why this shift registers are being used. And coming to the last topic of this chapter, that is counter. 3-bit binary counter. So basically whenever we want to count something, whenever we want to count the number of the bits which has passed some particular device, or just in general example, we can use this counter to find out how many number of person are entering a particular room or a hall. So whenever a particular person is going to strike that, usually this application, how they'll do is they'll fix a sensor, proximity sensor at the top, and on the top of the door, and this will be connected to the counter. So when a person is going to pass through this, so the signal which is given by the sensor is getting distracted. So this sensor will have a transmitter here and receiver here. So when this signal is sent and this receiver is going to receive that, when this signal is distracted, when particular person is going to pass, then the sensor is going to give a clock pulse to the counter such that the counter will start increasing. Then it will count to 1. Then some other person will come. Then it will make it as 2. Then other person is going to come 3. Like this, we can use this application for counting the number of uh, persons entering a particular area. Just an example I told. So this is a 3-bit ripple counter. So you can have 4-bit ripple counter or 2-bit ripple counter also. But for your syllabus, we are having 3-bit ripple counter. So basically in counters, we are having asynchronous and synchronous counter. Asynchronous and synchronous counter. So when we look into this asynchronous and synchronous counter, asynchronous counters are those where the output is free from the clock signal. So uh, the output is not going to be determined based upon the clock pulses. That means it is independent of clock pulse. That doesn't require a clock pulse. Synchronous clock pulses, the counters which are going to change the output whenever a particular clock pulse is been given. So in general, synchronous counters are dependent upon clock. Asynchronous counters are not dependent upon the clock. So that is the difference between asynchronous counter and synchronous counter. So here we are having 3-bit, we are studying 3-bit ripple counter. This can also be asked as mod 8 counter. Someone might be in interview and all, they can ask you, okay, can you design a mod 8 counter or modulate counter? So mod 8 counter means totally it can measure 8 till 8. 8 means from 0 to 7. Totally 8 counts it can give, because even we start counting from 0 only, 0 to 7 means total count is 8. In that way. Here we are going to use T flip-flop. We are going to use a T flip-flop. T flip-flop means toggle flip-flop. Toggle flip-flop means this flip-flop, whenever a clock pulse is given, it keeps on toggling. If the previous value was 0, present value becomes 1. If the previous value was 1, present value becomes 0. So this is the functionality of this toggle flip-flop. See, we have seen toggling as a function in JK flip-flop and master slave flip-flop. But to toggle only, toggling is only the function in this toggle flip-flop. We cannot have any set reset here. Its duty is to just toggle. It keep on changing. When clock pulse is given, it keeps on changing 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, like that. So it doesn't have any other functionality. That's why it is known as toggle flip-flop. The last one which we studied was delay flip-flop. Delay flip-flop, it is just going to give delay by taking a bit and giving out the same bit. So by taking and giving out, a small amount of time is utilized. That time creates the delay. So that's why it is known as delay flip-flop. So D flip-flop and T flip-flops applications we are going to study, but we don't have in detail discussion about D flip-flop or T flip-flop in our syllabus. So in the binary counter, all these counters are given with plus VCC. Just to switch on them, all of them are being given. And the first clock pulse is given to the first toggling flip-flop. Each of them are flip-flop. This is 1, 2, 3. 3 flip-flops we are using, because 2 to the power of 3 will give you 8. If suppose they are asking 4-bit counter, then 2 to the power of 4 is equal to 16. So you need to use 4 flip-flop to count 16. So 16 from 16 means 0 to 15. 8 means 0 to 7. Suppose they are asking some more higher value, then you can use that many number of flip-flop. So 2 to the power of n determines the count. So based upon this count, you can decide how many number of flip-flop we can use. In this, you can see that the clock pulse is given to the first T flip-flop, and the output of this is fed as the clock to the next, and output of this is fed as clock to the next, and finally this is the output Q0, Q1, Q2. So initially all the count, all the when Q2, Q1, Q0 is 0, that indicates the count value is 0. So Q2, Q1, Q0 means it is 421 code in the state of 421 code. For 0, equivalent value is 0, 0, 0. It is going to give 0, 0, 0. That indicates the count values 0. I was telling no this example. So to this clock in real time application, one of the real time application I'm just discussing just for understanding. So sensor is going to be connected. When sensor is going to give some input to this clock, then this clock goes high. Then it starts changing. It starts toggling. Now you can see 0 was there. First it starts with the Q0. It starts with this toggling will start with this. 0 was there, 1 is coming. 0 was there, 1 is coming. Rest of them are still at 0 only. So 0, 0, 1 indicates the count is 1. After that, you can see this when the next clock pulse is being given, during that time Q1 will be 1 and Q0 will become 0. You can see that Q0 will keep on changing 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Like that, it is keep on changing. Based upon that output, even these values are going to change. So when this value is changing, then after that only the next value is going to change. 0, 1, 0 is there, that indicates 2. 0, 1, 1, that indicates 3. 4 means 1, 0, 0. Like that, here we are going to get the values whenever a clock pulse is being given. In the first clock pulse, it toggles out. It first changes its output. Based upon this output, it is going to change. And based upon this output, this is going to change. Okay. So this is about the 3-bit ripple counter. So and the same diagram is there that you can study. So after this, there is a small chapter which is just it contains 2 topics. Can anyone tell me whether we have done this communication system anytime? Anyone? We have done this communication system. Anyone remembers? Okay, even I don't remember whether I have done this or not. So in the communication system, there's a very small topic. Within half an hour, we can finish up this. So in the communication system, we are going to study about the basic communication system and mobile phone principle. And one more is modulation, need of modulation. So these are the 3 topics we are going to study. So many of the things are known, but we are going to study technically. We just know how a mobile phone operates, but here we are going to study how it is going to be connected, how it is, many of us know that it is just connecting to a base station or a tower. But after tower, what happens? Where it goes? Where the signal is going to? And who is going to control this entire signal? How actually the encryption or how actually the security is being given? Why can't they can tap everyone's phone? What is everyone's calls? Okay, so There is a reason behind that, because of the hierarchy of systems what we are having. Because of that, it is not so easy to trap somebody's calls. Okay, so in that we are going to study in communication system, and also basic communication system. If you tell communication system, that is a basic structure. Like human beings will tell he'll be having two hands, two legs, head, stomach, and all. In the same way, communication system means there is some systematic block diagram. So the same, that will be the generalized block diagram, and the different applications of communication system, or different communication systems are going to use the improvised version of that, but the basic block diagram remains the same, whether it is wired or wireless communication system. The basic block diagram remains same, but based upon the wireless or wired communication, we are going to change. We are going to change, instead of in wired communication, we use a cable to connect. In wireless communication, we use antenna to connect wirelessly. So that we are going to study in the next class. So this will be done. And once we are done with this, I'm going to start module 4. So for the test, you'll be having till module 4.